Hello fashion lovers, you're welcome back to my channel. Trust you're good, trust you're doing well. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to craft a Victorian corset. If it is something you want to learn, keep watching this video. If you're new here, you're highly welcome. This is GP Fashion World, where we learn pattern crafting, free and cutting and sewing as well. Kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell. To all my subscribers, returning viewers, returning subscribers, thank you for being here. Let's dive into the video. To get started, I have my pattern paper here with me, as you can see. So this is the front part of the pattern. As you can see, I've marked my shoulder, marked my armhole line. So I've taken my shoulder slope and also my armhole line. So then, and the back part, this is also the back part. You can see the zipper allowance. I've marked the zipper allowance. I've taken my shoulder slope and also my armhole circumference. So I'm going to start working with the front part. So now here is the end of my armhole, which is the chest line. This is the chest line. The end of my armhole, which is also my chest line. This is my armhole and this is my shoulder slope. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all the vertical measurements. So you want to come from this part and mark your shoulder to this is the chest line. You mark your shoulder to the bust point. This is where the shoulder starts from. You can see where the shoulder slope starts from. So here is where my shoulder starts from. Please don't get confused. My shoulder starts from here, not here. Here is the shoulder slope. So here is where my shoulder starts from. So you want to keep your tape from here. Mark your shoulder to your bust point line. Mark your shoulder to your under bust line. Mark your shoulder to your waistline, and then that's the waistline for the front. Then mark the length of your top or the length of your blouse. So I'll go over it again. Start from here, my shoulder line. Mark from shoulder to my bust point line. I'll also mark from my shoulder to my under bust, the under bust line of the person. Then mark from shoulder to your waistline for the front. There is difference between the front and back waistline. So I'm going to show you how to take the measurement and how to get the difference between your front and back waistline. So I'll proceed to mark the shoulder to the length of my top, and then I'm going to roll a straight line. So as you can see, this is what I have. This is my chest line bust point, under bust, chest line bust point, under bust, front waistline, and the length of my blouse. So here is the bust point. This is the chest line. Here is the bust point. Here is the bust. Here is the waistline for the front, and here is the length of my blouse. So now I'm going to be showing you how to take your front waistline and the back waistline, how to get the front and the back waistline. So to get your front and back waistline, you want to just grab an elastic band or a piece of or a rope, tie it on the tiniest part of your waist, just like what you see me doing, and then go ahead and measure from the shoulder to the front waistline. Whatever thing you have, you mark, and also measure from the shoulder to the back waistline. So that is how you get your front and back waistline. So from the video, you will see that there is a difference between the front and back waistline. So we are going to be applying it here, and the front pattern, our front pattern is going to be longer than the back pattern. So depending on the difference of your client's own, it can be 1 inch, it can be half, it can be 1.5, it can be 2 inches. It can even be 2.5 inches. So the excesses that we have, we're going to be using it to take the bust that will be applied on this video. So just watch carefully. It's going to be a well detailed tutorial, and it's going to be simplified. Just keep on watching so you'll see how we apply all this. So the next thing is to take the person's nipple to nipple measurement. You're going to divide the person's nipple to nipple measurement. We're going to mark on the bust point, under bust, waistline, and the length of the blouse. So whatever you have as the person's nipple, out of the person's nipple to nipple measurement, you want to come right here and mark. The first dart I'm going to be taking, because we're going to be taking more than one dart, the first dart I'm going to be taking is going to be 1.5 inches. So I'm going to be dividing it. On the under bust, I'm going to mark 0.75 towards this side and 0.75 towards the other side. I will also do the same on the waistline. So the dart is 1.5, so you want to mark 0.75 here and 0.75 here. That is on the under bust. This is under bust. On the waistline, you also want to mark the same thing, and on the hem part of your pattern, you can decide to mark half inch on both sides, like this. Half inch on both sides, that is on the hem part, half inch on both sides, and then you want to go ahead and connect. After connecting, this is what we have. From the bust point, you want to come down by either 1.5, you want to come down by 1 inch, like this. You don't want it to get to the bust point. And with your curve ruler, you want to go ahead and, connect like this. And also connect like this. So this is what we have. This is what we have. It's actually very simple. So after connecting the start, you also want to get your overbust, where you want your Victorian corset to start from. There are two ways to do that. You can get the difference between your front and the bust point and the under bust. The difference between the bust point and the under bust, and mark it upwards like this. That is where it's going to start. You can do that. You can start from your shoulder line and then mark where you want it to start from. You can decide to mark where you want it to start from. So I guess I want it to start from the 8 inches. So from here I'm going to mark 8 inches. I'm going to mark the line on the 8 inches. That is where I want the Victorian corset to start from. So it depends on how low you want it. If you want it to reveal more cleavage, you want it to cover up, so you determine how you want it. You can actually make a Victorian corset and it will cover all your cleavages. So all you need to do is just from the shoulder, you can now just come down by 6, and depending on what you want, and from there you do your Victorian corset. So for me, I'm using 8 inches for this tutorial. So you want to go ahead and rule a line there. So from your shoulder here, you want to get the midpoint of your shoulder as the shoulder slope. Get the midpoint like this, and then you want to connect it straight. You want to go ahead and connect. So this is basically what we have. So you want to go ahead and contour your overbust. You need to contour your overbust. So here is called the overbust. If you don't contour it, your Victorian corset is going to be gaping, and that gaping that we are going to be taking, we are not going to be adding it back. The gaping that is just an excess, because when you alter your basic bodice block, when you cut off this part, when you alter a basic bodice block, gaping tends to occur, and to contour or remove that gaping or stop the gaping from occurring, we need to take a gaping dart, which is going to make the Victorian corset to be fitted on the top, and we don't add that back. We don't add back the gaping darts. Please take note of that. For the gaping dart, I usually advise you take 1.5 inches. especially if you're on slim side or medium size. But if you're on a plus size, you can go ahead and take 2 inches. That is fine. That is taking 1 inch on both sides. If you're making it of 1.5 inches, you are taking 0.75 on both sides, or you can take 1 inch and ½ inch, depending. So for me, towards this side, I will take 1 inch. I'm using 1.5 inches as the gaping dart, 1 inch, and towards this side, I will take ½ inch. 1 inch, ½ inch, making it 1.5 inches for my gaping dart. The next thing is to go up by 1 inch, just like what we did here, like this. You want to go ahead and connect like this. You also want to go ahead and connect. So this is called the gaping dart. The gaping dart, we don't add it back. Don't bother adding it back. This is a tube, kind of tube bustier, so we don't add anything back. If you add it back, you are going to have excesses. So this is gaping dart, we don't add it back. So it takes off the excesses, because once you alter your basic bodice block, gaping occurs. So you take the gaping dart and you don't add it back. Please take note of that. Then you can go ahead and connect, like use your curve ruler to curve this part like this, trying to blend in that part. You also want to do the same, blending in, which is very, very important. I want to go ahead and blend in the parts. Did you see how I blended it in? So you can see we are done with this part. So the next thing is to take your neckline, depending on how deep you want it. You can stop on your bust point, you can go up on your bust point, you can come down depending on how low you want it. From the bust point, let me just go up by 1 inch. You can even come from here to take the deepness of your neckline. So I'm using 10 inches from the shoulder to this point is 10 inches, so I'm using 10 inches, and you want to go ahead and connect like this. Another thing I will advise you to do is, starting from the bust point line, you want to check to know if this part matches up with this part. Okay, it matches. If not, you need to whichever one that is shorter, you increase. If this one is 3.75 and this is 3.5, you're going to be adding 0.25. You're going to be extending by 0.25 so that you have the same length. But for this part, it actually have the same length with this, so there is no need adding it back. So after doing this, now we have done this. So the next thing now is to add my circumference measurement. So for the bust circumference of this person is 44, divided by 4 is going to be 11 inches, which is here. This is it, 11 inches. On the underbust, you want to mark the underbust circumference of this person, which is here. Underbust, you want to replace this 1.5 inches dart like this, and then you want to add another 1 inch dart, because you're going to be taking that again. So you want to add 1 inch extra dart, 1 inch. So from here to here is my underbust circumference, and from here to here is this my dart intake of 1.5 inches, and I want to add 1 inch dart again, 1 inch dart, because I'm going to be taking another dart. So we want to add that 1 inch dart here. Did you see on the underbust? So on my waistline, you want to go ahead and mark your half of your waist circumference, which is here. You want to mark 1.5 inches for the dart. I'm placing the dart here, the dart intake. You want to mark 1.5 inches, which is here. And then for this waistline, I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches for my dart. On the waist, I added extra 1 inch, but sorry, on the underbust, I added extra 1 inch, but on the waist, I'm going to be adding extra 1.5 inches. Please take note of that. 1 inch and extra 1.5 inches on the waist. The waist, I'm going to be adding extra 1.5 inches on the waist. So this is what we have. So on the hem part, you want to mark your hem part measurement, which is, that is the circumference, 1/4 of it. Then you add back your 1 inch dart, which is here. You connect. So we're not adding any extra on the waist, on the hem part. Please take note of that. Let me go over it again. On my underbust, I mark on my 1/4 of my underbust circumference, my dart intake here, an extra 1 inch dart. On the waistline, I mark 1/4 of my waist circumference, the dart intake here, an extra 1.5 inches. On the hem part, I mark 1/4 of my hem part, my hip circumference plus the dart intake. Please take note of that. And on the bust line, I just mark 1/4 of my bust circumference. So you want to go ahead and connect like this. So this is what we have. Basically, this is what we have. Let me go ahead and lighten the armhole. So after that, you want to come down from the armhole by 1/2 inch like this. That is where your is going to end. That is where you're going to be connecting this part now. So you want to keep your curve ruler like this and go ahead and connect. Let me just use a pencil to connect it first before using my marker pen. So after connecting, this is what I have. So the next thing to do is to take our darts. Around here. I said it's going to have more than one dart. So you want to come here, check from here to this point, which is divided by 2. We're going to be having 2.75. Then you want to go ahead and mark 2.75, which is here. You also want to mark your 2.75 here. And then you want to just, roll a line like this. So you want to divide this part into 2 now. And then depending on how you want this part to be, you can bring it closer to like this. Did you see? You can actually bring it like this. You can take it like this. So depending on how you want this part to be. So I added 1 inch extra on the underbust. So I'm going to be taking 1/2 inch like this, 1/2 inch on both sides, and also take 1/2 inch on both sides for this part. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. You want to go ahead and connect like this. So I'm taking off the excesses that I added, but on the waistline we still have like 1/2 inch remaining because I added extra 1.5 on the waistline. So you just want to go ahead and connect your darts like this, and then you want to stop like 1 or 2 inches above here. You stop like this, and you also stop here. So you can see we have taken the darts from this part. So the next thing, I'm going to come to this side and divide this part into 2, which is here. You just want to get a straight line here. This is a Victorian corset, so you can get as many lines as possible. And the 1/2 inch that I took, the 1/2 inch remaining, the 1/2 inch excess I added on the waistline, I want to come to the waistline and divide it into 2 like this, and then connect it. just like connect like this, like this. Though this is optional, it's optional, so you want to take off that excesses. So basically this is what we have. You can go ahead and label this. So this is going to be your center front 1, center front 2, side C, side front 1, side front 2. So you need to like label all this pattern to avoid mistake. So the next thing is to come up from here by either 2 inches, 1.5 like this. So I came up by 2 inches, you know, to have that curve around this side. This is totally optional. Then you want to, you know, go ahead and connect. And with your straight ruler, you finish up here. Basically, the front part is ready now. So we'll move over to the back part. So this is the back part, as you can see. This is our front. So the back part, we are going to be marking the vertical measurement as well. You want to mark from here is the shoulder line, which is the shoulder slope. From here, you mark your bust point line. Mark your bust point line. Then mark your back waist line. So on the back, we are not marking the underbust because there is no underbust at the back. So you're marking the bust point. The front waist line is my front waistline is 18 inches, while my back waistline, or the person's back waistline, is 16 inches. So the back waistline I'm making use of here is 16 inches, and the front waistline is 18 inches. So I'm going to mark and connect. To get the length of the blouse for the back, you want to grab the front. You measure from the front waistline to the length is 5.5. You measure from the front waistline to the length is 5.5. So that 5.5, you come to the back waistline and mark your 5.5. That is how to get the length of your back. So whatever thing you have from the front waistline to the length of the blouse is what you're going to mark on your back waistline, which is the 5.5 inches. So you want to mark it on the, starting from the back waistline, you mark 5.5 because the front bodice is longer than the back bodice, which you are also going to be aligning on the side seam. Just follow me, you will understand it. Trust me, it's very simple. We are going to be taking 2 different darts on the back part, 2 different darts. So you want to go ahead, mark your, half of your bust span measurement, your nipple to nipple measurement. You mark on the waistline, the length of the blouse, and the bust point. Go ahead and connect. So you want to come here and mark 1/2 inch on both sides for your darts, and then you want to connect. Come up by 1.5 inches and connect your darts like this. So you want to go ahead and mark your waistline from this part. That is after the zipper allowance. You mark your waistline, which is here. You add your 1 inch dart here. You also add an extra 1 inch dart because you're going to be taking 2 darts. So basically from here you mark your waist circumference. On part of the waist circumference, you add back your 1 inch dart and then add an extra dart of 1 inch. So the front part stops from the armhole, like half inch below the armhole. So this is going to start half inch below the armhole. It's going to start half inch below the armhole. So you want to kind of draw a line. That is where the back part is going to start. So you want to come here and mark 1/4 of your bust circumference, which is here. So this is where it is, and then you want to connect. And here you mark 1/4 of your upper hip circumference, which is here. Then you go ahead and connect. So basically, this is what we have. So you want to go ahead, kind of, get the neckline, depending on what you want. Let me use my pencil and connect this part. So I've gotten my back neckline. So the next thing is to contour the back to avoid gaping, because this is like a tube. To avoid gaping, you want to come here and take half inch dart on both sides, making it 1 inch. Half inch dart on both sides like this. This is called a gaping dart. It does not affect anything, trust me, because we have altered the basic bodies. Gaping tend to occur, and if you don't take the gaping darts, your dress will be gaping. So I took half inch on both sides, connected it to the waistline. This is called the gaping dart. It does not really affect anything. So it does not affect anything. So for the back opening, because this is going to have like a loop at the back, like it's going to have a loop at the back. You want to come like this, create what you want. So from here you can take 2.5 inches from the zipper allowance, take 2.5 inches off, and from here you can take 1.5 inches off, just to connect the back part, because the back part is open from the style we are working with. So you want to come here, mark 2.5, and here mark 1.5. This is not like a standard. You can do whatever thing you want, anyhow you want it. You can leave it like that. So you want to go ahead and connect like this. So all this part is like moving out. This part, you'll be cutting it out. That's just your back opening. So that is for the back. Then the next thing, we added extra 1 inch for that. So you want to come here, divide this into 2, and then mark half inch on both sides for us to take off that dart that we added. This extra 1 inch dart that we added, then you want to connect a straight line, and from the bust point, or from the beginning of this place, you mark your darts like this. And then you want to go up by 1.5 inches and then connect your darts. Trust me, this is very simple and easy to make. So basically, this is what we have. This is the center back, the side seam for the back 1, the side seam for the back 2. So this is basically what we have. So the front part, we came up here toward the side by 2 inches and connected. So you also want to do the same and connect. So this is what we have for the back parts, or the back panel. So now, before we cut, we want to bring the front parts now. So the difference between, from the bust points now, you can see the difference between the back and the front bodies is 2 inches. So the difference between the front and the back is 2 inches. So you want to come to the bust point and take off that 2 inches like this. You want to come to the bust point and take your bust dart. So from the bust point line of the front, which is here, you want to come down by 2 inches and connect. You want to come down by 2 inches and connect to the bust point line like this. From the bust point line, you come down by 2 inches and you connect. So this is how we do it. This is the bust point line. From there, you want to come down. If it is 1 inch, half inch, 1.5, 2 inches, you want to come down by that and connect. So this is what we have. So this is the front. So we'll go ahead and cut this pattern off. So this is what we have so far. We want to go ahead and cut. I'm going to start cutting from the back. This is the back part. So you need to label so you will know how to join. To cut the front part, we're going to be slitting this open, the middle, that this part. We're going to be slitting it open to the bust point line. So once you slit it open, you want to go ahead and close up the bust dart. So this is how you close it. You pick it up like this. Did you see? You see what I'm doing? And then you match it up like this to the bust point line to be on a straight line. Don't bother about all this folding. Did you see what I did? To match up with the bust line, let me just mark the bust line so it will be visible for you to see. This is the bust point line. You want to pick this one and match it up like this. Did you see? Once you match it up, these two sides no longer align together. I hope you can see that. Then you want to go ahead and, connect, remark this part so it aligns together. Did you see? It has aligned together. And for the dart, you want to remark that dart. You want to remark the dart line like this. Did you see? I've remarked my dart line. So you want to use either a pin or a seal tape to hold this part from moving so that we can continue our cutting. So you want to go ahead and hold it down. Did you see? So we remarked this part, and then for that you can see we also remarked it. Also remember that here is where our patterns is going to be starts from or ends. This is where it is, not from the armhole, half inch above the armhole. Just want to take it to this point. Then let's continue our cutting. So let me just open up this part for you to see. Did you see? Did you see the essence of closing it up so that this thing can add up? If you cut it out and close it up, here is going to be shorting. So did you see that? So close it up and continue the cutting. So basically this is what we have. Let's use a pin and hold this side. So did you see what we have? Right? Did you see? So this is what we have for the front. Now let's test our pattern. This is the back part. Let's test the side seam of the back. So this is the side seam of the back. which is this one. So you want to go ahead and test to check if two of them matches together. So from the waistline here and the waistline here, you want to go ahead and match it up like this. Did you see? This is the front waistline, the back waistline. You match it up on the waistline and check the down part, it aligns together. Then you also check the upper part. Did you see? Everything aligns together. So you can see the front waistline side seam and the back side seam. The front side seam and the back side seam aligns together. This is what we have. If you want me to sew this pattern, kindly leave a comment for me in the comment section if you want me to sew this pattern. But this is what we have basically, and as you can see, it is beautiful. So this is the end of our tutorial. Thank you guys for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.